Tana Banana and family. This is the front yard. This is what's going on. The sun's shining, it's going down. I don't know what this video is, but 3 years ago, I had a neighbor having a tree chopped down the street, and they were chipping all the wood. And I asked them if they wanted to get rid of it, and of course they did, because they have to pay to get rid of it. And they dumped it in my my driveway. That was a dumb thing I did because I had them dump it in front of the truck. The truck was stuck, so we had to, in a long story, we had to dig a bunch of bark dust. It was a huge pile to where I get the truck out. But then it sat in the driveway for a year, and it decomposed. It was quite the thing I procrastinated about. And then last summer, Nick and his buddies, I paid them a few bucks, and they put all the wood chips in my front yard. So I have these cinder blocks that helps keep the wood chips up, and inside the cinder blocks I have Swiss chard. It's coming up. One of my faves. It's between a lettuce and a spinach, and it's heat tolerant. It will grow all year. You just pick the leaves as you need them, and the ones that get ratty I give to the chickens because they like that. So, I think this is too long, but something like that. Tomato I grew in the I didn't grow them in the wood chips. I dug a big hole through to the ground, filled it with raised bed potting soil, put a tomato there. It looks like it's doing good, so we'll see. That's kind of an experiment. Back here behind this tree, I gotta get through. Ooh, ouch. I have my clematis. The little leaves are clematis. First year, I did the same thing. I dug a big hole, filled it with some good compost and fertilizer. And my goal is, by next year, it should grow up into this tree, bush. This is a lilac bush, thank you. Look at all the flowers are dead. Gotta take them off, but my goal is by next year, when the lilacs die back, the clematis will take off, and I'll have a bunch of beautiful red flowers growing in there. Yeah, so some potting soil I'm going to be using soon. Here's some of my tomatoes. It's actually starting to do something. This wet, cold weather we've had this spring is kind of crazy. But as it gets bigger, I will be adding more soil so that the root system and the stems get stronger. I also have a little basil in there, which is a good bug deterrent. Here, oh my goodness, one's coming up. Here is my zucchini spot. Same thing, dug a big hole, filled it with some good dirt, and I actually have one coming up. See that big one? The one next to it's a weed, but that is actually, I was kind of worried about it, but they're coming up. My zucchinis, I planted 4 or 5, I will only keep 2, because you get a lot of zucchinis. And there's a hole, I think another one's coming up through. Oh, a little green in there, so 2 coming up, a couple weeds too. Another tomato, same process. Be adding dirt as it gets bigger. Apple tree. This is a 4-way apple tree. We have Granny Smith's, bourbon. Can't remember all of them. But it's doing really good. But it's growing funny. It grows to the right. Oh, the sun might be messing with me, but so it's leaning to the right with all those apples on them. It tends to do that. Don't know why it's growing that way. I've been trying to prune it to not do that. So far, I haven't been successful. So I put this piece of wood there, which is propping it up from leaning over. Because once the apples come on, it's going to get heavier. And I'll probably have to cull some of the apples so it doesn't break branches. I did that last year. But there are a lot of apples coming on, so that's good. Here we have zucchini, or not zucchini, sorry, cucumber. The cold, wet weather has Really done a job on them. They're not dead. They do have new leaves coming out the middle. So we'll see. And this is something I built a long time ago as a trellis for some other stuff I did in the backyard. And the cucumbers will grow up that. That's my plan. Here we have my beautiful plum tree. Last year it got fungus, shriveled up, and the plums I did get were shriveled up and gross. But this year it is gorgeous. I don't see any sign of bugs or fungus. I gave it a good soaking, and the apple tree a good soaking of neem oil before it started to bloom. And I think that took care of the problem. So I'm super happy. There are plums in there, hard to see because they're green and they blend in with the rest of the tree. But there are plums. Here are my 2 winter squashes, my butternut. Love butternut squash, my favorite. So, right next to the street here. The back is so quiet, the front is not. But another thing I did, same thing, I dug a hole into the bark dust, bark chips, put a bunch of the good dirt. We'll see how they go. They seem to be hanging in there. It was crappy weather, so we'll see how that works out. That's just a pretty little bush, doesn't do much. Over here we have something, and this is the 3rd year for my asparagus. I did not pick, well, I did pick one. Okay, I did pick one. It was delicious. I ate it raw. Next year, it should be super healthy, super strong, and I'll be able to start harvesting some asparagus. It takes 3 years for it to really mature. If you harvest it too soon, it will not make it. So you just let it go to seed, and it's a pretty plant. Let it go to seed for 3 years. They say 3 years, you get 30 years of plants. Or asparagus. So there we go. Been working on that for a while. That is the renter's back porch. So got some clematis growing up there, purple. Seems the last of its days. It's a spring clematis. So over here we have my other raised bed in front of the front porch. I planted some strawberry starts for ground cover. We have peppers. I grew some really hot peppers for my neighbor because a Mexican family, so sweet. She gives me Mexican food. I give her eggs, and I'm going to grow some good peppers. This is a honeysuckle that I planted just a month ago, I think. It will vine up all through all this wire I hung. I put fresh wire up here this spring. And it should block the sun from the bedroom windows. That's the goal. And hummingbirds and bugs love them. So here down here we have sage that I use my Thanksgiving dinner. More strawberries. I planted the marigold for bug repellent purposes. Here is another thornless blackberry that I bought this year. It should grow big and strong and do the same thing and cover the sun from beating into the bedroom windows and get lots of yummy berries. That's an Anaheim, I think, which is my best. They're not really hot, but they're great for stuffing. More strawberries, more peppers. That's a jalapeno. I do like them when they're young. They're good on the Barbie. And another honeysuckle, different brand or breed or type. Again, going to grow up and cover Nick's window. Some parsley. And another blackberry. Thornless, of course. Don't do thorns. This one actually has some flowers coming on it, so I might get a couple berries off of it this year. But probably won't get much till next year. We'll see. And another tomato. This is my Jean Gold, I believe it is. Is it? Well, it's a yellow cherry, but super sweet. And it's growing, but they're being slow. Another basil. All the other stuff around the edges is just ornamental. Hens and chicks, and I couldn't tell you what the other stuff's called, but Just a nice border, helps keep the moisture in. And real quick, I'll show you out by the driveway. Here's my car. New car, well, it's not that new, I bought it before Thanksgiving, but she's pretty. She's fun. Brandy totally redid her car. Looks so much better than it did when I had it. This is my rosemary, which I think everybody should have a rosemary in the backyard, front yard, because you can cook with it all year long. It's an evergreen, and it's very hardy. Now this is this plant. Lisa gave me this plant. Can't remember the name of it. It just came up this year. I planted it 2 years ago. Never saw a sign of it. And now it's going crazy. It gets this huge bell flowers on it. I'll have to ask Lisa what that is, because I can't remember. But it's quite the plant. I guess you have to get support beams and stuff for it when it gets all big, so I'll have to work on that. Another clematis that took off this year. I planted last year. Only got one flower, but I think it needs some fertilization, so we'll do that. And then I have California poppies everywhere, ground cover. Some of these California poppies turn out to be pink. How that happened, I have no idea. But it's pretty cool. But they are growing crazy. California poppies, I think, are meant to grow in really bad soil. And when it gets really rich soil that's been fertilized, they go absolutely crazy. But I will cull them back here soon, and they will take off again. So that's pretty much what's going on there. The only other thing I have planted out here is, and I don't know what these are called either, and they've been growing thicker and thicker every year, but they get these beautiful fuchsia pink flowers on them, and they look like they're about ready to pop here next week or so. Other than that, I have a lot of work to do out here. Oh, those are daylilies back there. Daylilies and some ferns. That goes back to my backyard, that fence back there. Yeah, lots of work. I really want to tear all this out, and my goal one day is to have this completely re-cemented, because we have a modge podge of old cement, dented cement, gravel. Ugh. Yeah. On my list, my long list of things to do. But that's the front yard. That's what's going on with the garden. I have to get out here and weed eat. This is the patio, or the walkway that goes to the renters. And I weed eat about once a week, and I guess I better get that done this weekend soon, before it gets to be too much. But there you go. There's my front yard garden that rabbits and chickens can't touch. Trees and tomatoes, and even got some California poppies that just showed up over there. Seeds must have blown over from last year or something. Anyway, that's what's going on up here in front. Looking forward to all the yummy tomatoes and blackberries and apples and plums. Alright, that's what's going on in the front. Oh, the bricks there, if you're wondering, that is my water main. And so I did not want to cover it with bark chips. That'd be bad. So I took these cinder blocks, and that's where you can shut off the main water. And so that's protected from all the other stuff. So yeah, kind of happy my zucchini's popping up. Kind of worried about that. Alright, well, I love ya. All y'all take care, wash your hands, and don't touch your face.